The best thing to say about Ingrid is that in New Jersey politics, there was no one that knows more about what's going on than Ingrid. She's been with the Institute, with Princeton when her husband was the mayor, and she's been at League of Women Voters. Now I'm going to let Ingrid is going to be the moderator, pose the questions. I also want to thank everybody who sent in questions. We did get a good response. We got to remember to take like silver box back from the lobby. But we get email questions as well. So we've tried to get as much as we could covered within the questions. Ingrid? Okay.
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to see this room so full and that you are interested in learning from your candidates. New Jersey, you may not know this, I'm very proud of New Jersey because when we were creating our Constitution, it was New Jersey who went to bat, federal government, where they would be chosen by the Congress. The Congress would that area you would choose your candidates, and that's why we have redistricting, because they said we have to have a census every 10 years. And so having done that, they're not doing what they envisioned that the people would do, that they would pick their representatives. So for 200 years or more, we've been doing that. And that's why I'm so excited about coming to candidate nights, because you are here to hear what people who want to represent you think, so that you can make a decision. It's up to you who those people will be, who will be making decisions for you, because we can't really run the town. You know, all of us sitting in this room would really not work. So, in order to give you that opportunity, working with Paul and also Sue Carroll is here, one of your residents, we came up with a format that we hope will be informative for you and for the candidates. We'll have opening statements by each of them. We've picked numbers to know how we'll get started and then change as we go along. You were first on the first question, then you won't be first on the next question, go to number 2. As we have 5 candidates running for council and 2 candidates running for mayor. The other thing I would like to ask you to do is to just take it all in. This is not a meeting where you show up and have something that you want to get put forward, or somebody that you want to cheer for, or that you have a statement, or that you're preparing to speak for. And so this is just a time to take it all in. And I would appreciate it if you would not applaud or in a sense make judgments about what any one of the candidates say, if you like it or not. Keep that to yourself for tonight. Take it into consideration when you're marking your ballot, and then say what you're thinking for some kind of public meeting or another way to express your interests. So we have a timer. Every question can be, we're permitting the candidates to answer in up to 2 minutes. So that should give them enough time to let you know what they're thinking. And we will close with closing statements, and begin with opening statements, and then pose some questions to the candidates. So that's what I hope will be happening this evening, and I want to thank you once again for coming out to learn from these people who are presenting you with the opportunity to have a choice. So let's start with the Mr. Kramer. I think I'm going to use first names. Bill, is that right? Yeah. We'll be the first name and we'll turn to Brian Levine. Okay? Here you go, Bill.
Good evening. I'm Phil Kramer, the mayor of Franklin Township. Thank you for coming and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm proud of my 8 years of accomplishment, and I'd like to list a few things that I've done. Taxes. For the average home, the local municipal tax, the only is lower now than when I took office. We opened the northern branch of our library, moved the southern branch so it is bigger, better, and no longer wastes $90,000 a year. Under Kimberly's leadership, we opened the youth center. We increased our open space purchases so that now 38% of Franklin is preserved. We're awaiting the right market conditions to start energy aggregation that will supply cheaper, cleaner energy. During COVID, my leadership was unmatched by any other mayor in the state. A dozen township meetings, daily guidance from Facebook, pre-tests not available in other towns, and I hope many people in this room get vaccinated when vaccinations were scarce. Be mine. I am quoted as saying it was a done deal, but what I didn't tell you was the next day I was at town hall looking for ways to fix it. I was more interested in fixing it than getting credit. We passed 5 ordinances that were crucial to stopping B9. All of them came from my efforts and those of council. All of them came from here and from here. You and B9 were my obsession, and together we won. I know there were times I said things you didn't want to hear. It was because I was always telling the truth. Pandering is not leadership. Speaking the truth is leadership. That's what I've done. That's what I will always do. Thank you.
Okay. So we got a free 15 seconds. Our literature is in the back, and my opponent is on the side over there. Please feel free to read it. It'll help you fall asleep at any time. Sure. So Canal Walk residents, thank you so much for the invitation here. I implore you to vote for the person who's going to assist you when the next crisis arrives, and you'll see that that's me. I was here. I was the mayor when Canal Walk was started, and we never envisioned warehouse nonsense when I was there. So when I was mayor, I used to be mayor in town, I was one of the most successful, fiscally prudent, and honest mayors in New Jersey. I know honest in New Jersey is a low threshold, but I didn't step over that. But you've been sold a bill of goods. Let's start with the warehouse. You were specifically told for 2 years that this was a done deal. Most of you have heard that. My opponents worked on this for 2 years, and at the last minute, changed the vote to make you happy. I worked on this for 6 months and got it turned around already. That's leadership. That's listening to the people. They used to call me the people's mayor, and that's what I want that moniker to stick with me. I was on your side from the beginning, and I always will be. Let's talk about another bill of goods, taxes. You get your tax bills? Taxes went down. Aren't you paying more than you used to? I have an MBA. I'm a certified public accountant. I know how to stabilize your taxes. I did it here. I did it as the county commissioner. It used to be called a freeholder in the county. And when I get elected, you, your money, your family will get the respect they deserve. They talk about the libraries. When I left as mayor, we had 3 branches. Yeah, they're tinkering with it, but I'm the one who implemented the 3 branches. They talk about the Franklin Youth Center. I started Franklin Youth Initiative. I put it in place. I shepherded it through. And when I was mayor, hold on, Money Magazine named us the #5 town in the country. And they gave me this, and I'm giving it to you too. Thank you.
We are now going to move to the council candidates, and since you have a microphone up here on the table, instead of taking time coming up to the podium, let's just pass that around. And from the numbers that were drawn, Mr. Noah Fortuna is going to go first, and the second person will be Alex. I just call him Alex. If you can remember this, The third person will be Mr. Coombs, Frank, and then Ron, and finishing up is Kimberly. So, but I'll remind them. So let's start with over here.
Good evening. My name is Ohajinoa Fan. Thanks for having us, and thanks for listening to us. I'm a veteran, I'm a father and a husband, and I'm a farm operator, meaning I make medicine, cancer therapy medicine. I work for Legend Biotech and Johnson & Johnson. I've lived in Franklin Township for over a decade now, and I love Franklin. I moved from Jersey City. Coming here was peaceful, was home, and I like to keep it like that. But 8 years ago, we see a lot of differences in Franklin Township. Whether it's warehouses, whether it's traffic, whether it's public safety, whether it's dispensary, they come in. And guess what? If those things come here, and they have approved few already, they come with baggages, and we don't want that in our township. They will tell you that we should have put a lot of things, but this is fact. Some of us been at a council meeting with most of you guys fighting to make sure that we stop warehouses, we keep our open spaces. So, I'm asking you to see and think, who's really for you? The people who stood with you, or the people who actually allowed what happened to you? It shouldn't happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex.
It's working. It's on. It's on.
Good evening to all who are here and watching us live. My name is Alex Karazi. I moved to New Jersey 42 years ago after getting my PhD from University of California at Berkeley. I have lived in Franklin for over 37 years, married. I have 3 daughters and 6 grandchildren. I have engaged in many community services, including during COVID, which when I teamed up with a few leaders, including Mayor Kramer, to bring a lab to town, and week after week, we arranged for places to provide testing and vaccination. Without doubt, we saved some lives, and we are very proud of that. I worked for a major chemical company for over 30 years. I was a former member of planning board, and also I was adjunct professor at Rutgers University and also at Middlesex County College. Currently, I run a private school in town, which when we reach the full capacity, we're going to save over $3 million per year for the taxpayers. I am president of Franklin Township Interfaith Council, second vice president of Dr. Martin Luther King Foundation, and a member of Human Relations Commission. I have been a member of the Executive Committee of JFK Democratic Club and Ward 3 Chair of Democratic Party in town. Because of my extensive community services over the years, I was recognized by Franklin Reporter as Man of the Year, by Captain 2 as the Town Hero, and received Governor Jefferson Award for Community Service. I look forward for a good and productive dialogue and discussion tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
This works, right?
Yes.
All right. My name's Frank Coons. I've lived in Jersey all my life. I've lived in Franklin 30 years. And I used to work for the sewage authority. I become a business owner within this town. I pretty much want to say I've grown with the people of this town. And as a business owner that I deal with a lot of the public, I hear a lot of the messages. Listen, I really don't need to jump into the politics, but if we don't stand up and do something, and that's the way I feel, then this town's gonna go. And I can't bear to see that. I've got 2 girls graduating college. There's a house around the corner. We bought for $127,000. They invested $100,000, put it on the market for over $550,000. It's a Cape Cod, 2-bedroom, $550,000. My kids can't even afford to stay in the same area I am. It's just getting ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. And unless we get somebody in this township that knows how to look at a set of plans and knows how to look at something and say, this is going to be the best way to do it, this is how we're going to save the people the money, you're just going to end up paying more tax dollars for mistakes. And I don't think that's right. I don't know what else to tell you. There's a couple of issues I know of right now as we speak, a water main replacement program by McAfee School. Now they were going ahead and start the program, found out it was too close to the school, and they changed the date. Well, the material had been brought out on site, now had to be removed. That's costing us money. I just want to say also thank you for inviting us into your community this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ron.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. My name is Raman Warson. I'm your deputy mayor as well as council at large. Thank you for electing me in 2019 to the council. In my first term, I have governed with the principle of better policies and less politics. Facts are on our side. In Franklin, like elsewhere, overdevelopment is a serious concern, but we are doing something about it. While being mindful of the tax revenue it brings, which reduces the burden of the municipal tax levy on all of us. Our council has put in sensible ordinances to control overdevelopment. Our signature ordinance removed warehouse as a permitted use from the business and industry zone, which you are next to. Further, we have adopted a noise ordinance in the city corridor, limiting business operating hours in the night. Recently, we have adopted the state's 2023 stormwater management regulations as of the time of approval, not of the application. All these policies have elicited a few lawsuits, which we will defend on behalf of the people of Franklin. My voting record as a planning board member reflects your concerns. When I did not hear about a satisfactory answer about an impervious coverage ratio at a new warehouse application hearing, I voted no. And you all know what happened to the B9 warehouse application last week. I was the first no vote, and the rest of the vote followed my lead. Please consider our record and support our slate of candidates on November 6th for better policies and less politics. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. My name is Kimberly Francois. I'm a councilwoman at large. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve you as a deputy mayor, as a mayor, and as a at-large councilwoman. to improve the quality of life for our seniors and our youth. My vision for the township is to stabilize taxes, expand economic development, to increase commercial and industrial vehicles that will ultimately reduce the burden on residential taxpayers. My plans are to further guide, focus, and encourage desired private investment in the corporate business district along World Strip Drive and Davidson Avenue corridor, creating a 24-hour live, work, and play environment for the next generation of workers and their employers. Also, enhancing the construction permitting process to make the township a lot easier to do business with. This will help address the need and the demand for more flex space. Creation and repurposing of office, parks, and commercial parcels for IT back office and medical office space. My continued focus will be to attract more smart growth for entrepreneurs and restaurants along the Hamilton Street Business District to become a more lively, pedestrian-oriented, shopper-friendly, retail-focused village center with more restaurants. I want to continue to finish the work I'm doing to enhance the youth center at 429 River Street. I have a lot of plans to continue work there. I love Franklin, and I want to continue to invest in the future of our township and invest in the future of our youth and our seniors. Thank you.
Well, that went very well. Our speakers all kept right up to the minute limit. And thank you, Ira. We'd now like to get into some specific questions that arose from putting together the ideas that were submitted for this forum tonight. Let's go back to property taxes. As you know, your property taxes support more than local government, but you really don't have a say over the school budget or the county budget. So we'd like to hear from the candidates if they have at least up to 3 ways that they think in the next limited future years that you could save money on certain ways of doing things or items that are already in the budget. What are your thoughts on those? And we'll start with Mr. Levine and then go to Mr. Kramer. And the first person to be called on from the council candidates is Alex Garza. Okay? You can sit here. You want to sit down? Okay. How about we let the mayors go up here and help the council sit down?
Okay, the question is about taxes. Like I said, I'm a CPA. Every day I save people money. I've got a master's in business administration from good old Rutgers, where I know how to budget, I know how to put things together. When I left as mayor, we had one of the highest surpluses in the entire state of New Jersey, over 500 municipalities. Since then, it's been squandered because it's easy to pull money out of your savings account to plug up your budget instead of budgeting properly. So here's other things. One of the first things I did as mayor, I looked at our departments. I found things like our finance, our payroll. They were doing redundant work. We eliminated it. We saved money. I consolidated departments when I was here, and I took careful look at all the money. For instance, one policy I implemented, which I think is still in effect today because it's a good one. I call it one-time money for one-time projects. A lot of towns, they would settle a lawsuit. They would borrow money and put it in their operating budget, and then they're that much behind the next year. It's like taking money from your credit card to pay your electric bill. You're going to be behind next year. We got a settlement. I think it was Texas Pipeline, all the pipelines are underground. We needed a new animal shelter. We used that money to buy the animal shelter. We didn't have to borrow. I didn't put it in the budget where we would be behind. We knew we had to do that, and that was a direct savings for the people. It's just good, hard budgeting. And sometimes you can do good things. Our police department, when I was mayor, We grew the police department, we implemented, because public safety is one of the number one things. We implemented, one of the first ones, for cameras and computers in their police cars, community policing, all the while keeping a tight lid on the expenses. What they did now, the new group in there, instead of a police chief coming up through the ranks with good morale, they picked someone from Essex County, I think it's Essex or Huntington, or Hudson, to be the police director because someone was owed a favor up in that county. So now someone who is never a police chief is running our police department because that person was owed a favor at the tune of 6 figures. That's how you save money. Just do smart work like you do at home. Thank you.
There he goes again. For 20 years, I've heard Brian Levine take credit for things that other people did. Perhaps he needs to check his own tax bill. While he was mayor, his taxes went up on his 2 houses. Nice to have 2 houses. While I've been mayor, his taxes, the municipal local tax, the only tax that we control, has gone down. You're wrong, and I'll show you the numbers. You're wrong, and it's my time to speak, not yours. He did such a great job with the surplus. When I first got on council, the surplus was in a dive. We were going to run out of money in 2.5 years. Police, because of that problem with the finances, we had to lay off 10 police under him. He didn't raise the number of police. He lowered the number of police. We've raised the number of police, and by the way, with the new police director, crime is down 33% from when he was in office. So I don't know about this deal for somebody. She was the best choice. She's done a great job. She has fixed our police department, and Mr. Levine needs to learn the truth. Everything he just said. Kimberly, I don't even take credit for the youth center. I was there for every bit of it. I supported every bit of it. I was there for the votes. He was not there. Kimberly built the youth center, not him. Kimberly. That's enough.
Now we'll start with the council members. Alex, do you want to stay where you are? Use that mic. Is it working?
No, it doesn't.
No, it isn't.
I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry.
This is unfixed. But should I just come in?
Well, why don't you come up here?
Sure.
Let's see if somebody can fix that.
All right.
Somebody out in the audience with a microphone fixer.
That's all right. I guess the question was what are the 3 things we can do to lower the taxes? But let me just tell you something. What Mayor said was absolutely true. I check my taxes. I've lived here 37 years. I checked it. My taxes under him went down as well. So thank you, Mayor. You can go and check. I'm sure some of you have lived here more than 20 years or even more than 8 years, so you can check it. Now, as far as ways that we can reduce taxes, there are several ways. Number 1 is we should continue bringing soft businesses in town. 2 weeks ago, I was in a grand opening of a business called Vital Care. They do the infusion. They mix the medication, and for those that they need, they come and do that. It's a beautiful business, first in town, and that brings money, that brings noise, and does a service to the community. We have offices that are open, and we should continue doing that. I will support small businesses. My father used to have a small business, was not doing well, and I know how important it is to support small businesses. If they're successful, we will bring more money. By profession, I am an engineer and 6 Sigma black belt. Some of you may not know what that is. Basically, I've learned skills to look at operation and find ways to reduce the cost. have a great rapport with the township manager and his staff. I will work with them. I use my experiences to help them to find ways that we can cut the cost. And that is like 30 years of experience that I'll share with them. Okay? Thank you so much. And lastly, I think if we really look at all the items that we have and get the best deal, and I know they have done a great job, but we can always improve and save taxes. Thank you, and I'm sure we will keep the taxes low. Thank you.
How's everybody? Frank Coons. 3 ideas for lowering taxes. I do like the one investing in small businesses into our township. I think we need to concentrate spending money in Franklin instead of going to Bridgewater, Somerville, Manville, spending money outside of our town, to keep our funds in our town. I don't think we need to build any more warehouses, which will end up in 5 years empty and not paying taxes at all. And we need to look at paying overtime compared to paying straight time when you have a sufficient number of police officers protecting our community. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Yes, first of all, I just want to make a comment about the former mayor. I like him. Or a CPA, he has a good sense of humor. I would say all sizzle, no steak. In his watch, while he was mayor, the taxes actually increased 11 years by 53%. That's 11 years average of 4.8%, $1.1 per year. Under Mayor Kramer, it went up 4.3% over 8 years. That's about half a point. So there we go. You know who pays more attention to minding the finances of this town. A couple of ways to reduce taxes. Always you can cut, which Mayor Levine did, cut costs, aid costs. We would look for businesses to come into town. We promote active development of businesses to come into town. We will seek more grants. Every year there's appropriations at the state level as well as the. Prior to that, Congressman Bonnie Coleman Watson brought in $1 million to the youth center. So every year, these appropriations, we have great relationship with our state representatives and federal representatives, and we bring more money to the treasury. Thank you.
I think the fact that through our mayor and his stewardship, we've only increased taxes of 0.5% per year. That's a really good municipal tax rate. What we have done is we have looked at our, which is obviously helps us to cut costs. We also have been looking at ways where we provide more services to staff that we currently have. So we haven't increased our staff in the township, but we've been able to offer more programs and services. That is efficient tax management as far as I'm concerned. We've also looked at ways where we can keep our businesses here in Franklin Township to retain business. Everybody here has said we need to invest in our small businesses. We're trying to attract more small businesses. We want to make, as I said in my opening statement, we want to make it easier to do business with. In order to keep and retain our commercial rateables here in Franklin Township, we'll continue to decrease the tax burden on the residential taxpayer. Those are the strategies that we have used, and I think they work very well. And we also, guess what? We want to keep people in this room that have a lot of experience. You may have some ideas, This is your town too. We're your elected leadership. We're here to serve you. Maybe you can also help us if we're not doing some of the things you think we should be doing, although we're doing what we think we should do. You know, we certainly would like, you know, to get your feedback as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And the final speaker on this question, Noah Kufana.
Hello again. Hello again. Because what we bring in to what we put out does not equal. And second, most of you sitting here today, you say they might, or you pay taxes. What do you gain? What do you benefit? Most of you don't have school children, but you still pay tax. So what incentive are they giving you guys? You know, recreation. We don't have enough place where young kids play. I'm glad we have the youth center. It's nice, it's beautiful, I've been there, and I just want to thank everybody that worked to make it happen. But that's not enough. We need outside recreational for youth. I play soccer. I have people here, we don't have a soccer place for us to play. So I understand that we paid money for a field that is still not ready yet. That's what I understand. We don't, how do we go?
Thank you all for that. Clearly, warehouses is something that this town is very aware of. We'd like the two mayor candidates to think to the future. I don't think when this was planned that we would have known about the decision that was made at the planning board, and it wasn't in the Trenton Times. I read about it. I said, I know where Franklin is. I'm telling you. But we'd like the mayors to speak to the future. Moving forward, what would you do as mayor to curb the mushrooming development of warehouses in Franklin might be possible given the development you've had? So if you could speak to that, I would then like to ask you a very specific question, which is not usually something that you do in forums like this, but clearly there is a feeling in this town that you really have to get at the warehouses and the impact of them. So for the first one, as you look ahead, is there a way of dealing with potential mushrooming? And I think, Mayor, you go first.
We did it. Warehouses are no longer allowed in Franklin. No new applications are accepted in Franklin. That's the ordinance we passed. I'm going to have to blame the Franklin. You're taking up my time. I'm going to have to blame the Franklin Reporter because I missed the article where Mayor Levine passed an ordinance in the last 6 months that stopped warehouses. These are the people who did it. I'm the one who pushed it with staff to come up with the right wording so that the lawyers wouldn't take it apart. We're going to win those cases, and that's how we stop the warehouses. What was your specific question?
The specific question, no, go ahead. I'm going to give Mr. Levine a chance to answer the forward-looking questions. Then I'm going to come back and ask you a specific one, okay?
So they stopped, we didn't only stop warehouses, we made it so that they have to have greater stormwater protection, and we've cut time of operation. We've done those things, and I'm not done, and I'm not going to tell you what else I'm going to do, because I'm not going to give their lawyers a chance to figure out ways to stop me. I've been working on this with our township attorney for months, and it's going to keep continuing. The fight isn't over. we're not done yet.
Okay, whereas I stick to the issues, personal attacks are being levied against me. Don't you dare call me a liar. That's despicable, and it's not true, and my mother wouldn't allow that anyway. When you're asked how you want to save taxes, the answer is attack pride, instead of giving real answers. When you don't have an answer, you obfuscate. So let's answer the question. I was mostly in the minority party when I was mayor, as I voted 8-1, and yes, taxes did go up while I was mayor. You know why? I voted the budget down, and the other 8 members of council outvoted me to increase it. But I had to use the bully pulpit to get things done. I've kept development down. I've worked on our budget. Like I said, public safety is #1, worked with our county. The governor appointed me to the Red Tape Review Commission in the state of New Jersey, where chaired by the lieutenant governor, where we saved millions of dollars from state agency by cutting redundancies, even little things like reciprocity for nurses between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. We looked at that so our people would get a fair share of other places. How do we stop this? I've done it before. I put projects down which aren't good. I've encouraged projects which were. So yes, we can stop bad projects, but we've got to do it carefully and smart and proper planning. And go back to the beginning, you know your taxes went up, so don't tell me taxes went down. So it's proper planning, which I've done. I've done that. That's why I was named, when I was mayor, I got an award as Freeholder of the Year from Building 1 New Jersey. And when I was a freeholder, which is now county commissioner, the New Jersey Conference of Mayors named me Freeholder of the Year because of the work I've done. I got outside recognition. I can tell you, but those are the outside ones. Thank you, sir.
Why don't the two of you mayors just stay seated for this? In several intersections, large trucks are not obeying rules designed to curb their movement. How would you address this problem? And you want to go first on this?
Okay.
Okay, I'm telling you what I learned from talking about what questions we should ask here. So, in several intersections, large trucks are not obeying rules designed to curb their movements, where they go, I guess. How would you address this problem? And I think what the question was asked because people don't think the problem has been addressed.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Okay. Just to put it out there, the practical end is you can't restrict trucks from all over town because when you go to McDonald's, you go to the supermarket, you go to the store, they have to deliver. There has to be at least a route for them to deliver. However, you can restrict where they go. You can restrict where they go. There could be police enforcement if we put it with them, and the roads can be constructed so the trucks can get around, and we've done this before, so that they can get where they have to go, but in a restricted manner, and time restrictions on it. So yes, we can restrict their movements. Oh, am I not speaking right?
Okay.
Okay, so that's basically how we address it. The time schedule, police enforcement. If they know there's police enforcement, they're going to be careful. If we can curb where and when they go places, they use trucks, and more importantly, the warehouse owners will know about that. So that's the way we start putting this to sleep.
Mayor, your turn.
So we're going to answer that with a traffic study that we've already commissioned. We're also putting up another.
Yeah, put it a little closer to your mouth. Yeah, thank you.
So we're going to answer that with a traffic study that we've already commissioned. And we're putting up traffic lights. Actually, that was Jan's idea. Not traffic lights, traffic cameras to monitor the traffic so that we can know where the problems are. But I'm sorry, I've got to get back to taxes. Brian Levine, municipal taxes went up 9 times faster than under me. He's trying to combine the school taxes and the county taxes to confuse you. He's a CPA. He should know the difference. And when, yes, there were 3 times that he voted down the budget, you know what he wanted to do to save money? He wanted to pave roads half as fast as we're paving now. Show of hands, who here thinks we're paving roads too quickly? Thank you.
I'd like to ask the council members, Frank is first on my list to answer. If you would like to answer the question about the potential for more warehouses in Franklin. This has been obviously a mayor's issue, but I don't want to close off the debate. So I'll start with Frank if you want to speak to that.
Sure, why not? As far as warehouses, I think we have plenty of them that just sit empty. And if we need to put a new warehouse in, we should take it on one down. And getting back to a point, those of you from Canal Walk that were at a council meeting, after the council meeting, it was told to us it was a done deal with B9. And it wasn't until I stood up to Mayor Kramer and told him he is working for the public and not B9. And it shouldn't be a done deal. It should be what the people want. And it wasn't until that statement was made, and those of you who were there know, it wasn't until then that you started seeing action from this council at any of the B9 warehouse meetings. So that was just a little food for thought. Thank you.
Ron, you would be next in line if you wanted to say something about this.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I just want to tell something here. Seems like our opponents are confused about real estate appreciation, and they are complaining that actually taxes are increasing because of the appreciation in the real estate. Anyway, I think Mayor Levine was here in Township for 11 years, and then he moved up to the freeholder ranks, so that 17 years in government did nothing to stop warehouses. Now, we have passed a ban on warehouses, and we voted B9 warehouse down. He takes credit. The last 6 months seems like he worked very hard, and our opponent Coons obviously told us that we have to stop this, and we did it. So people take credit for everything we do. Anyway, the future, the warehouse sprawl is a big problem. That's why this council made the change to the zoning rules. Warehouses are not a permitted use anymore. And even the ones that are going to be built, they were grandfathered on the old zoning rules. We have severe restrictions in their operations and the buffering and landscaping and the traffic control. So we have done a tremendous job of regulating what are being built and what will be built in the future. And just don't forget, these warehouses are paying big taxes. So there's a confusion about tax rate versus tax levy. Tax levy is the money that we need to run the government. Tax rate is the one that is actually you are paying on your properties. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think it's Kimberly's turn.
Warehouses. I think it's very obvious that we were not supporting that. We passed 4 ordinances limiting warehouses. I'll say it again. We passed 4 ordinances. This council is governing body for limited warehouses. The planning board that we appointed voted no, voted down B9 for the warehouse. We know that we will get sued, but care about the quality of life of the people that live in Canal Walk and our seniors. I think we made it very clear that we're gonna do everything we can to limit warehouses and stop this warehouse sprawl. The best thing we can do is pass ordinances, which are our regulations here in Township, to make sure that our zoning is compatible to stop the warehouse sprawl. And I think we have demonstrated that, and I think you all should know how much we care about your quality of life, and we work really hard to stop this sprawl. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I miss somebody over here?
Yes, we have two of us.
Okay. And then I know yes, you go next, and then you're the final one.
Funny. It's really funny, of course, with me when my opponent said quality of life. And they also say, oh, we fight with you guys. First of all, who approved these warehouses? I just wanted to answer that. Who approved it? And second of all, I know why in the 11 hours they decide to vote no. Because they know that time is against them. They know that their time is up. When they realize that Mayor Levine, myself, and Frank are on the ticket, they realize that, wow, we messed up. Because Mayor Levine has a positive track record. Not just my opponent, pretty much, it's one-sided. There is no check and balance. But if you guys elect us, there will be check and balance. Before we pass the bill, we'll ask questions. Let me look through it. I'm not just going to pass the bill based on party affiliation. No. But I'm passing bills that benefit the residents of Franklin. This is what we are running for, to make Franklin a better place for you guys. Imagine how many Amazon stores and warehouses we have here very close to these developments. Truck, pollution, traffic. So, I don't know what they mean that they give you guys quality of life.
And Mr.
Very. You heard Mayor, there will be no new warehouse. But I wanted to also mention something. When I was standing in front of the podium and the planning board, and I was telling them that please turn this down, I wish our opponent would have joined us do the same thing. They did not. They failed walk to talk. They have an ad which flashes stop with development. But my friends, you did not come forward and tell everybody on the planning board that stop this. That's number one. Some people say that, oh, it's going to be taxpayers' money. Yes, if the company decides to sue, we are going to spend some money. But let me tell some facts. The community here, we have about 1,251 houses, maybe about 2,000 plus people. That makes only 3% of our population. And Mayor Kramer, if I'm not wrong, this community pays almost 5% of the taxes. You guys were helping us to pave our road, pave our library, and you don't drive a lot, you walk a lot. So you pay for the rest of us to have better roads. And the same thing, I know this tax doesn't apply for the school. Most of us don't have the children, but we pay to educate our children. I think you deserve our support and our determination to help you so this warehouse B9 won't be here. And I'll tell you that we will fight for you, and you have our back. And I hope everybody understands, for years they will help you, were helping us. Now it's our turn to give a little bit back. Thank you.
Okay. A completely different question. But I think in a town that's very engaged as you are, it's worth asking. Do you think the citizens of Franklin need or want more and better communication with and about their government? If so, what one thing would you propose and support? And I think I have to turn to Mayor Kramer to start.
We can always do more, get more communication. We can always benefit from more communication. As I mentioned, during COVID, I had a dozen town hall meetings. Under what Mr. Levine was on council, they did start televising meetings. We have put that on steroids. We are now streaming live all the major meetings, and we have almost every other meeting goes on FTTV or is on YouTube. We've had more town hall meetings of other types than Mr. Levine ever had, and I'm having a town hall meeting tomorrow. But there's always room to expand, ways to expand, get input from our citizens. A lot of the input that we got, a lot of the things we did on B9 was from you. Amazing that one person over on that side thinks what he said changed our mind and moved us. None of what you said, I guess, had anything to do with helping us figure things out. So he must have a very, very loud voice. Thank you.
You can keep your microphone there. Would you like to speak from here?
Yeah, okay, that's okay. Okay, I'm talking issues. I'm tired of the personal attacks. That's the darn thing that people do on the national level, the Democrats and Republicans. That's disgusting. None of us like it. I want the days of Walter Cronkite and Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan disagreed with each other, but they weren't disagreeable. But now we're going to the national politics where it's personal attack. I'm sick of it. I'm not even going to answer it at this time. It's ridiculous. We were the first in the state to have a pay-to-play ordinance, meaning certain people could not participate in government if they contributed. You know why? Because I introduced it. Way back, you look at the Home News and Courier, something like October 2003, that's 20 years ago, there's an editorial praising me, saying Brian is one of the first in the state to try and implement this. And it's correct. I did start televising the meetings, and perhaps it's expanded. But in 2004, when we started it, the internet was young. We had to start at step one. If I didn't do it, it wouldn't have been done at all. I also implemented all applications will get a hearing. I started that too. So when there's projects, I was open to letting the people speak. I had special meetings for things. And I let our ethics committee, when it existed, before some other people, extinguished it, have the light of day, so people could see what was going on. So yes, open government is where I'm at. That's what I've always implemented. That's what I've always believed. And bringing cameras into the council chambers was one of my concepts. And we were actually one of the first in the state to do it because I believe in sunshine on the government, so everyone can see what's happening. And if you don't like what we're doing, you tell us. And if we can do it, we do. If we can't, we can't. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's turn to the council people, and we'll start in a new rotation. Noah, this time it's your turn to go first.
If you guys can look at our banners, our logo, basically, it says leaders will listen. You know, I want you guys to tell me how long have you guys been going to council meeting crying to stop this benign warehouse? How many times? Many, many times. I've seen most of you guys there. So, for them to tell you that they don't, first of all, they don't respect you guys. Most of you guys standing there voicing your opinion, how you feel. They only give 2 minutes or 1 minute. It's not enough for you to tell them how you feel. So, with us, we will not only listen, we will return phone calls or email if possible. When we campaign, when I go around town, people tell me, residents say, how do we reach the township? They don't return phone calls, they neither answer phone calls. So it's very important for them sitting here and say, oh, we listen or we're open government. That's not true. It's one way. It's their way or no way. So, but if you elect us, and when 3 of us are there, because even though we're still going to be outnumbered, but they will start to listen because they know they're on the side watching. Because I believe coming next election, we're going to take over because you guys are going to see what we do.
Thank you. Alex?
Yes. First of all, I'm so sorry, Laura, that you say that our seniors cry. They don't cry. They speak and we listen. We respect them. They never cry. Okay, that's one thing that I think we needed to make it very clear. And as far as the question, she had asked how we can improve the communication. You know, our township is very diverse. In fact, it's the second diverse city in the state of New Jersey. People speak different languages. Some of the people that they come here, they become citizens, but still they speak different languages. One thing I like about Franklin Reporter is that when you open it, it gives you the option to click and read his paper in your modern language. And that's really great. So I think one of the ways that we can perhaps increase communication with the citizen, with the diverse citizen, is to look at ways that we can offer other languages, the important information to go in different languages. That's one way. And also, I think it's important to remember that as an official, we are obligated and we commit to listen to our citizens. So please continue raising concerns. And in fact, I tell you what, in the way out, we have this magnet card. The 4 of us have our names and our direct telephone number. Please take one. And if you have a concerning question, please call us. We will answer it. Thank you.
Kimberly, I think you're next.
So we talk about open government. We have done that. We have televised every one of our council meetings. They come on regularly. One of the things that we did in the past, before COVID, we would take our council meetings to the various boards. We would take our council meetings out to different areas. They couldn't be televised, but we were able to get to different people in the township. One of the proven records of communication that I know I personally was involved in is with the youth center. We had multiple forums with the community, with the youth. We had them in churches of worship. We had them in the library. So we were able to get a lot of feedback from the community about the need for a youth center. We had community forums right there in Town Hall. We had several design forums. We did a lot of open government about the fact that we were going to build a youth center. The If we had not gotten the community input, if we had not had that communication, we would have never built that youth center. It was because we received communication from the township and the community, the seniors as well as the youth and their families, and that was how we communicated about what we need to do with that youth center. So there are, as was said before, we do answer our phone. My cell phone is published on the website. Anytime I get a call, I answer the phone. So whenever we get communication, whenever people call us, we make ourselves available. And then Alex, he has the Interfaith Council, and so he's managing all the different houses of worship here in Franklin Township. That's another opportunity to get communication and to get community input. We are open to hear from you. Thank you.
I think, Frank, Kurt,
Hello. Question is, can we do better with government communication? Thank you. And I don't think it comes into question if we're not communicating now. The question is, can we do better? And I think we can. I think there's a lot of things that have been discussed here this evening that until this evening we didn't know about. And why? Where's the transparency? I think there's a lot of things that we need to maybe check into and find good ways of getting it out to the people. I've had children go to school in this town, and I've had reverse 911 calls done to let me know school's closed today. But I don't remember getting any notification that there was new warehouse laws passed that were killing warehouses in Franklin. I don't know where the transparency is, and I think we need to have a better communication line and investigate the difference with technology today. There should be no reason that we need to look into. Thank you.
I think the communication question is probably one that you might want to think about. How do you want to be communicated? If you have been sitting up here and been answering that question, I think the candidates might like to hear from you on that. I'm going to read you another question that I guess reflects sort of thinking about how we are doing and what we are doing. And it might sound a little wonky. Okay, you ready? Would you advocate for a study commission on the form of government here in Franklin that would address the question of having a strong mayor with a business administrator rather than what is called, not that it's weak in the sense that we often think of the word weak, a mayor with a strong manager? And if the candidates haven't thought about that, it's perfectly okay to say, I want to learn more about that before I say anything, okay? Are you all right with that? Okay. So I think that for this, Brian Levine, you go first as mayor.
Here's a quick background. New Jersey gives municipalities various forms of government it can do. In Bridgewater, New Brunswick, Edison, Woodbridge, most of the cities, the mayor, like think of New York, Philadelphia, is the executive. He or she, all the department heads reports to that person. Franklin is different. We have a mayor and council, we appoint a town manager, and all the department heads report to that town manager. Every town larger than us has a strong mayor. And actually, it used to be the mayor's picked from the council. I was the first person elected directly by the people. Even though I was in the minority party by, 2, 3, 4 to 1, I won anyway. So to answer the question, if we had a strong mayor and that were me, I wouldn't have to worry about, like we said, in the budgets, being outvoted. I could have introduced my own. I could have implemented things for the police department more directly. I could have fixed the roads more directly. So should we look at it? I think absolutely. Now let me say, our town manager, who I helped hire, is excellent. And most mayors will take a business administrator, and he would certainly be one of my top picks if I was in there. But I think you should absolutely look at it. So when you elect the mayor, you know that that person has to listen to you, and he or she cannot pass the buck because they're outvoted by the council. So the bottom line is, yes, absolutely, we should look into such a thing.
Mayor Kramer?
Thank you. So, no one would benefit from that change more than I. The likelihood is I will still be mayor after January 1st. I don't crave power. I don't want that power. I like the collaborative government. It's better, it's fairer, it moves a little bit slower, but we're not responding to nuclear weapons being shot at us. It's okay if we move a little slower and think about things a little more. There are times that I've thought of things and have discussed it with other council members, and they have a better idea. 9 minds are better than 1. We also have the filter of it takes 5 of us to tell the manager what to do. So that means you have to have a strong input of a momentum, a mass moving in one direction, and that isn't always easy to do. We've never had a quagmire in Franklin because we couldn't decide. I like the idea of shared government, shared decisions. There have been times when we have argued and they got into heated arguments about things. At the end, we turn out to also be friends about it, and we like the decision better that we come to. So no, I don't think it would be better to have a strong mayor.
Thank you. In terms of the council members, we're going to go down the line again, and that mixing it up a little bit. If you want to say, I'll think about it, that's a perfectly okay answer. if it isn't something that you really know a lot about and feel like you can say something, all right? So I'm going to call on Ron first.
All right, so here's the downside of the strong mayor. If you just heard what was discussed here, full-time mayor and a business administrator versus a part-time mayor and a full-time township manager. What does it do to your budget? Add about $200,000 salary for the full-time mayor. Who wants to pay more taxes to pay $200,000 more to a full-time mayor? That's what strong mayor will get you. You still need a business administrator to manage business, okay? So I think it is, for a town of our size, the current structure is more than adequate. We get the job done. We meet the services, we meet the needs of our residents in providing services. We have very good fiscal control. We have management control of the township staff through the township manager. So my humble opinion is keep the expense down, keep the current structure. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. You were number 1. Number 2 is Noah Fufana.
Can you read the question again, please?
This is the question about whether we should, whether you here, not me, you here in Franklin, should be looking at a different form of government. As we heard, it's sort of complicated in terms of a stronger quote-unquote mayor.
Well, in the military perspective, I believe in teamwork, and I believe in attention to detail. We can still have a town manager, but also we need a strong mayor. they cannot vote because you can't have a weak mayor and a strong town manager. But if you have a strong mayor, you can work with his council to make sure the town manager do exactly what the people elect them to do, to oversee what the town, they are only the town manager. So technically the town manager work for the council, and the council work for the residents. So yes, we need a strong mayor.
Frank, you're next.
I think both structures of government there would have benefits and, your pros and cons, no matter which way you go. Definitely having a strong mayor with a strong town manager or business manager, you probably have more of a quick response to items that would come up in your budget, in your town, that need a quick decision, and you don't have to put the process to where it's got to go to another meeting and come back, and go to another meeting, come back, and it's 2 months later, 3 months later before you get an answer. So I would recommend a strong mayor with a strong.
Alex?
That's okay. What actually we need is a good leader. Because when you talk about strong, sometimes it refers that, oh, this person is dictator and is going to say my way or no way. Well, we need a good mayor who shows leadership skills, solves a problem. 8 years ago, I went to Mayor Kramer, and I told Mayor, we have an association here, and we wanted to turn the maintenance of our couple of areas in Township. Before that, it was not possible. He looked at it, he spent time, and he made it happen. And our 82 houses still talk about how great that decision was and how helpful he was. He is really the skills of leadership. He brings people, he makes things happen. And I've seen it, and I know how great he is. So we don't need a strong mayor per se. We need a mayor that brings people together. We need a mayor who respects the diversity, unites people versus dividing them. And I think we are very blessed to have them. And when that COVID happened, honestly, some of us may have not been here, and we are blessed to have them at that time to be with us. And so my answer is that we don't need a strong mayor, but we need a mayor who has the leadership skills and brings people together.
I think we have come to, oh, Kimberly, you haven't had a chance to say anything about this.
So, we currently have the form of government, township manager and mayor. When I was the mayor back in 1996 and 1997, we used to rotate the mayor every year. I was the first time mayor where we had allowed me to have a 2-term as opposed to just having a 1-term mayor appointment. To me, that was ludicrous. That was crazy. And so we didn't change the form of government, but we decided we would elect our mayor. Now, if we decide that we want to go to a strong mayor form of government, that would have to come from you. We would have to put a referendum on the ballot, and the township would have to vote and make that decision. There are pros and cons to having a strong mayor versus having what we currently have today. I would say that what works very well is that you have to have 5 votes on the council to get anything passed. If you have a strong mayor, you're giving one person a lot of power. And I'm not so sure we would want to do that, especially if we get the wrong person in there. So, like I said, there are pros and cons. I think what's working is working well today. But if the township and the people in the township want us to change the form of government, we can make that happen. You can make that happen. It would not not be our decision. Thank you.
Thank you for your thoughtful answers. And if I would say from this discussion, if you decide to move ahead, you might want to define the two adjectives, strong and weak, because they can be interpreted in very different ways. It's getting to be nearly 8:30, and we said we would get you out of here, so I'm going to call this a lightning round and ask every person at the table to just go right down and ask you to let people know, once you have served, what would you like to be known for achieving? Are you ready? Frank? Make it fast, because it's less than 2 minutes, less than a minute.
Well, as soon as you said that, one thing I would really like, if I were to be elected, I would really like to be known as somebody, anybody in this township could come up to at any time of day, any day of the week, and talk to, and get something done that they had an issue with. And that's what I would like to be known for.
Okay. Down at the end, down there, Alex, what would you say?
Thank you. I would say that I would like people to remember me, that I listen to you, I solve your problem, and I did my best to earn your trust.
Okay. All right, no.
I would like to be remembered as one of the finest young men ever to serve, because I've been serving this country. I've put my life on the line to make sure that us here in America have a better life. I give back because I'm an immigrant. I wasn't born here. I came from Sierra Leone, West Africa. America gave me home, gave me hope. And today, I'm here today to say, I'm happy and glad. I have a son. The dream I had back then, my son will live that dream, because they live in a country where every dream is possible. And I want to make sure that that dream he lived is in Franklin Township. I want him to say, oh, yes, my dad made Franklin a better place. And just for me, for many others. When we drive around town, he sees my name on the lawn sign. He said, wow, Dad, you're very popular. I feel proud because I, as an immigrant, you never looked down upon me, but because of hard work, family, and family, transparency. These are the things I work on. I'm a youth leader in my community. I know. There is not enough time for us to stand here and give testimony of what we have done. But I'm asking you guys, the council need fresh ideas, fresh faces. Most of these people have been there 20 years. We need new ideologies. So, sit and think. Please. One minute. Please. Think that we are here to serve you. And I will serve you. I've done it in the battlefield, and I will do it here. So, I need your support. We need your support. Fofana, Levine, and Coons. Thank you.
No clue, this is a statement. We're going to do the mayor's last. Okay. Kimberly.
I would like people to say, she says what she means and she means what she says. I've been very, very transparent about the fact that I want to improve the quality of life for youth and for seniors. 1996, we built the community senior center. I said it, I was gonna do it, and we did it. For 15 years, I've worked on building the youth center. I've been committed, I've been dedicated, and we've done it. So I want people to know that, yes, she means what she says, and she says what she means. And she just doesn't talk the talk, she walks the talk. That's what I want people to think of me. She's dedicated, I've been in here for the long run, I'm not here for titles, I'm a public servant, and I've been here to serve you. I want people to think that about me. Thank you very much.
If I had served 20 years in the council, I would be 85. I would be president. Even better. But anyway, one of my passions is educating people. What our township lacks is opportunities for our youth to go to a local community college. What we lack is a place where our unemployed people can go to get retrained and find a different career. So those are the two things that I've been working on. So we are the largest town in our county, 69,000 people. We send the maximum tax revenue to the county, but we do not have a higher education institution in town. So one of my goals in the next few years, before I complete my next term, I would like to bring our community college, a satellite campus in town. I've been working on it, and we are almost there. We would have a satellite center here to train our unemployed people, youth, have more classes for high school students and college going seniors in town so that they do not have to travel 45 minutes to Branchburg to go to the main RBCC campus. So I would hope that people would remember I made that happen in town for the students and the other people at large, for them to get trained and get a new career.
Okay. All right. We started out with Mayor Kramer. I think you were second. No, you were. It's your turn to be first, Mr. McVeigh, and then Mayor Kramer is second. So, what is your vision of your accomplishments?
Okay, the vision of my accomplishments is the leader that I've been and continue what I've done. I actually have a track record, and I put that out there for you. You know I'm going to watch your dollars, because I've done that, and that's what I do for a living. You know I'm going to fight for you. You know I answered all the questions, not just meandered or attacked someone else. When I was asked, I gave you the real answers. You know I was a pioneer in open government, because that's it. I brought cameras, I had open meetings, I would have meetings with people. I started a mayor's advisory committee. You know when the warehouses came and you were told, this is over, just get the best. Even the lawyer they appointed for you told you that. I stood there and said, no, things can change, and I will help push it. You know I was there in the forefront. You know I was a pioneer in leading televised meetings and open government, because it's been documented in the paper, and yes, people have done more things to it, but we were the ones that started it. And you understand that I am for you, and I'm going to listen to you. And I hope that's my legacy, that someday in some little shallow grave, someone will say, he listened to a couple people and got something done.
Okay, the final statement.
I'm sorry, we're still doing the
What's happened actually, in asking you to reflect on how you want to be remembered or what you think you did the most, we are really hearing from people from their death. And we will not be having the closing statements because we're running over. We promised people we'd be done by by 8:30. Is that right with you? Or you can make your statement, your closing statement, if you would like.
Okay, thank you. So for the lightning round, I'll try to be lightning. I'd like to be remembered for open government, fighting for your taxes, and always telling you the truth, and that I deeply, deeply care about you. Martin Luther King said the ultimate measure of a person is not where they stand in moments of comfort or convenience, but where they stand in times of challenge and controversy. My opponent made his campaign debut at a rally at the gazebo. He advocated that the planning board reject B9 and pledged that he'd fire anyone who did. Now he's on public record saying that the cost of defending B9 is being too burdensome. Is he flipping his strategy for when he talks to people in other parts of town? I don't know. First of all, Canal Walk pays 5% of the taxes and takes little. Fair is fair. And by the way, stating that you fired anyone who voted for B9 renders the planning board powerless to deny any application, else they lose in court due to mayoral coercion. It would have been easy for me to tell you I've spoken to the planning board members and it's in the bag, but that would have backfired on me. So I kept my mouth shut. I trusted my planning board that I had council to pass those 5 ordinances to let it happen. During challenge and controversy, I kept my mouth shut. Pandering is not leadership. In this case, shutting up was leadership. As a pilot in the Air Force, it was about you. As a doctor, I served you. And as mayor, again, it is about you. I have never wavered in my commitment to you. I think of you every day, from stopping my car to remove a fallen log that is across the road to stopping B9. It is about you, the residents of Franklin. You're not a stepping stone to higher office until I return when that fails. You are where it starts, and you are where it ends. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's thank everyone for tonight's meeting. I hope you have found this informative. I think we can say that each of the candidates helped you understand who they are and will be helpful to you when you go to the ballot box or mark your vote at home ballot and send it in. So thank you to the candidates. We are grateful that you are giving people a choice and demonstrating what a town can do. Thank you and good night.
The candidates are still here, so if you do want to talk to them individually, you'll get that chance now.
All right, Franklin, that's going to about do it for our live coverage of the Canal Walk Candidates Night for Mayor and Township Council. You heard about more than an hour and a half of questions, and sometimes they actually answered the questions they were asked. But I think you got a pretty good idea of where these folks stand on the issues and their suitability to help govern the town. So, Franklin, until next time, this is Bill Bowman from the Franklin Reporter and Advocate.